All right, I am live. Okay, now where's the chat at now? Okay, close that out. Go back to the chat. How do I get the... Okay, I want to add that. There we go. I wanted that background clear, though. That's irritating. But anyway, let me see here. Let me check Charles. When I was waiting here for the link, okay. I'll send it here then. I sent it. Yep, I did send it to your email. Okay. Now, where's Charles at? Let's see. Now, why can't I find these names that are supposed to be on my list? You guys ever had that trouble? When you're looking for a friend that's supposed to be on your list and it's not there? So now you gotta type in the search bar because for some reason my Facebook has shifted to a different one. Wait, no. Go back. What the hell is that popping for? There we go. I don't know why I don't find his name on my list. That is so weird. Okay, there we go. Okay, who's here? Anyone here? And how do I get my chat up? Comments. There we go. All right. Hey, Papa Tom, are you there? I'll send you a link here shortly. Hold on. You can join us tonight if you want. We're gonna have a light night tonight. Venus is here. Hey, Venus. You want to join in the conversation? You can join in on the panel if you want. All right. Okay, now how do I get... Now, see, I don't understand my contact list here. It's screwed up. It's there half the time and it's not there half the time. I don't understand. Papa Tom, I'm sending you the new link if you want to join. I can have up to 10 people, I believe. Oh, there's Michael right there. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, Ronald, how are you?
Good to see you.
You
Yeah,
too.
I seen you on with Joey and Tanya last week,
Yeah, I
and
remember.
they're actually personal friends of mine. So I had the great honor of meeting them in person, and amazing couple. Uh, so I had an interesting question right off the bat. We're going to do things a little different tonight. My friend Jesse, who does a UFO report, he's not here tonight, so that'll give us a little bit of time. But the question that came to mind for you as I was watching you with Joey and Tanya, and as I thought about it for the whole week, is and I don't mean any disrespect with my terminology, so please don't hate me for what I use because I don't know the whole terminology, how to ask this question, but I'll ask it in the best way I know how. How do you consider yourself? You're reverend, right? But are
Yes.
you of a denomination? Are you of the Native American type or of the Eastern?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I have Cherokee blood. I am a minister. I'm with the Unitarian Universalist denomination.
Okay.
And that's the church that I serve. I
Okay.
serve a UU congregation here. I identify as a person of color, but I'm mixed. You know, I have some
Yeah.
European blood, I got some African blood, I got some Cherokee blood.
Yeah.
But so
I couldn't figure it out, and I don't care either way. But
yeah, no, well, no, it's cool. No, it's cool. Yeah, yeah. But no, that's the church that I serve, um, and I've been there for a few years now. And I came up through the ranks. Of what I was a guest. See, I used to be a hospital chaplain, and that's what I really loved to do because I grew up in, you know, I was sick a lot as a child with asthma, so I'm very comfortable in hospital settings. And so I started out as a chaplain, and then I got offered a job as a minister in a congregation, very different ministries, and so I this is what I do, but I really do love to get a chance to visit people in the hospitals or to do more of a pastoral care ministry.
okay. Do you use some shamanic techniques? In
No,
your
you know
work?
what I do? I teach Reiki, and
Okay.
so I do some energy healing work.
Yeah.
Um, you know, of course, I have my own meditation practice and things like that. And you know, so I do some counseling when I visit people or they come to my office. I see auras, and so sometimes I'll incorporate that in the session. So I have a little like a toolbox, but mostly I just try to listen because listening is a great healer.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I liked what you said on Joy and Tom. I don't remember what you said on the show, but I do like what you said. And I'll be getting the show to play on my station real soon, in a week or so, or a couple of weeks, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
because they said that they were gonna let me know when it came out as well. It was a fun
okay,
show. It
good
really
deal.
was.
Yeah, now,
And
now we don't get the visual on my audio part. We just get to hear, what was said.
yes,
But what's
yes,
interesting about that if you got to watch the show at all, or if you're part of the show, and then you hear the audio part of it, and you think, I remember that. I see a
yeah,
visual already in my head because I was there.
yeah,
And that's what I like about doing the audio part only after, if you like, I do the Three Beards podcast, Three Beards
yes,
archive,
yeah,
Three Beards podcast archive. I do that a few weeks, you know. Actually, now I got caught up, so it's actually a week after, so I'm really close to catching it up, and I'm right on time right now. So like I'll have Wednesday's show next week, which is pretty cool because it's still fresh in your mind. It's not right after the next, not right after that show. But I also do a live stream of someone else's show, which might not be anybody's cup of tea. With the called Slacker 82 Alpha. They're more of a political conversation, and
yeah,
they are not very happy most of the time with what they're discussing. But it's a lot of fun to listen to their conversation and
yes,
hear them,
yes,
and it really gives you some ideas and some thoughts about, why I need to do this or I don't need to do that,
yeah.
and that's how I kind of work with that. So I don't have to agree with anybody,
No,
okay, and I don't have to disagree with anybody or anything, but I do have to listen, like you said. I do have to
yeah.
listen to what people have to
You
say,
just have to listen.
and whatever you can collect and come into what you can receive. In other words,
Yes,
then that is a more healthy spot for you. Okay.
I agree.
I don't necessarily agree agree on all the Reiki master stuff or the
Yeah,
hoopla type of mystical activity. Not saying that I don't disagree with it. I just don't understand it. So I am working with. I do tarot card readings type for myself. And things like that.
yeah. Me too. Me
I've
too.
gotten
Yeah,
pretty good with that.
yeah,
And but I always tell people it's just for entertainment. Don't take it serious. But if something that I say resonates with you and it works on your side, then go for it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. I
And
agree. I
I don't
agree.
mean to misguide anybody or confuse anybody's actions, but if I have a message for somebody, I want to tell them as well.
That's right. I
So
agree. I agree.
and and then in your experience, have you had a message when you were doing a reading? Like, I'm not saying like a random message when you go to the grocery store and you see somebody and say, "Oh, I got to tell them that what I hear." I'm not talking about that.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about like you're sitting in your living room and you think, "Oh, I got to tell so and so, somebody that you might know very well,"
That
and
has happened. That has happened to me on occasion
yeah,
where there's something specifically for them,
yeah.
and then I'll call them and say, "Hey, this just came to me. I'm going to run this by you. Do what you want with it."
Okay, I'm going to add someone else to our conversation here, and we're going to have fun tonight with a few extra people, just because I like to do that, if that's okay.
Yeah, it's
And
Friday night.
I just
Friday
said,
night.
this is Papa Tom. He lives here in Minnesota, in my state, but he's about 6 hours north of me, so he's like in another
Wow.
world up there. But anyway,
Wow.
I'm going to add him to the call, and you can say hi to him. He's a UFO investigator, and he's also a former part-time law enforcement or something. I'll let him tell you if you want. Here, let me add him to the stream here. There you go. Here's Tom.
Whoop,
Hey, Tom.
Hello.
arrange my camera here a little bit.
Yeah.
There.
Right now he's playing Santa Claus. He's behind a month or so. He didn't shave
Yeah,
today.
took me that long to get all that beard on there. Hey, it's Minnesota, and we
Yeah.
snow blow up here out in sub-zero temperatures. So
Yeah, it's pretty
this
cold. I'm
feels
sure.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about snow, Tom. Did you get that snow the other day?
No, we didn't. We missed it. It kind of
Oh, we
went
got it
south
all
of
then.
us.
Yeah, we
you
got it all.
must come down to you. We
Yeah, we
picked up
got.
about 4 or 5 inches the day after you got yours,
Okay.
but it was just enough to mess up the streets and the whole thing.
See,
I'm
Tom lives in a different area of the state, and he's kind of in more of a city type area. But I live in the middle of the cornfields in a rural town. Okay, and so the wind comes across here, comes across the flatland, and it's super windy. Even on a light wind day, it's
Woo.
windy. And when it was the other day, when it was like, oh, it's 20 degrees out, but the wind was blowing, it was like 5 degrees. you know.
Wow.
And then one day before that, or
Wow.
so, a couple of days before that, it was like 15 degrees above zero. But then with the wind chill, it was like negative, 15 or so, negative 20, just like that. And
Woo.
you don't want to go outside in that.
No, you don't.
Even
No.
with gloves on, your hands are frozen,
Yeah.
and that's no fun at all. That really stops you in your tracks. Even if you're used to it, I don't care who says, "Oh, I'm used to that. That doesn't bother me." Yeah, right. Then you've never really been in it. But
Yeah.
if you've been in it and you know what it's like, then you don't necessarily talk about it a whole lot. You just kind of, if you have
You
teeth,
got to do it. You just got to go out
yeah,
and do it, get it done.
yeah. If you have teeth and you
Yep.
grit your teeth and you go,
Yep.
and but of course I don't have teeth anymore, so I don't do that. But anyway, I just hold my breath, I guess, and I go, and so yeah, that's kind of tough. I mean, but anyway, that's enough of that. Anyway,
So,
but
Michael, I was listening to you about being a preacher. Is that
yeah,
what you do?
I'm a minister. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I heard what kind of church it was, but it didn't kind of register with me. Is that
It's
something?
a Unitarian Universalist congregation. It's a very liberal brand of Protestantism. We're part of the Protestant Reformation.
Okay.
We have about 1,000 churches in altogether. Of course, in Europe, but there are a few in Canada and the United States. Um, and we have when I go to church on Sunday, I have Christians, sitting next to Jews, sitting next to atheists, sitting next to pagans, sitting next to people who don't know and don't care. And it's a challenge, but I enjoy it. And it's a very progressive denomination.
Okay, Protestants now, that's just a spin-off from the Methodist, isn't it?
Actually, no. The Protestants are all the denominations that aren't Catholic.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Methodist, Episcopalian.
Maybe I'm thinking of Lutherans. They're just a
Lutherans. Lutherans are Protestant. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They broke away from the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've gone to both churches, and the Catholics get a little too involved for me. Sorry, no problem with Catholics. My best friend is a Catholic, so they just spend too much time there for me.
Mm-hmm.
Ron, what have you been up to all week? I've been kind of off the air myself, so I don't know what's been going on.
Oh, not too much of anything. I just been playing my morning show. Michael, I do if I can call you Michael, or do I have to put Reverend before?
You can call me Michael. So let me ask you this, guys. What are we going to be talking about this evening?
Anything that you want.
Are we starting now, or is this?
Yeah, pretty much. I do mostly open conversation. So, but if you have a subject you want to discuss, bring it on. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm taking your lead. I mean, you asked me to be on the show, so
yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what.
But I did want to ask you about your book. You have a book out that's what is it?
I have about 5 books out. The latest book is called. I have it right here.
The blue cover that it has.
It's called Initiation: The Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer. This is my latest book.
Can I see that cover again, sir?
Sure.
Okay, is that a flying saucer then on the?
Actually, it's not. It's a person meditating, and it's kind of 3-dimensional. And this is it's shaped like a saucer, but it's the energy above them.
I see.
And they're just kind of being in tune with this energy. Now,
how does this work with your spiritual work with the church as a reverend? How does the belief in UFOs or aliens or even the paranormal, how does that connect with your spiritual activity with the church?
It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't. It's not a UFO church. It's a UU church. My experiences as a contactee and that kind of thing are outside of the church. At the beginning, there were some people at the church who didn't like that. They turned on the TV, and I think they saw me on Ancient Aliens or something, and they were very upset that our minister believes in what they called little green men. And so some of them came and complained to the board of the church. But the church said, listen, he's not forcing it down our throats. He may be right. And so we don't see the big deal. And so that's what happened. But I keep them very separate. I mean, it's kind of, some of my congregation do believe in UFOs. Some of them watch Ancient Aliens and other TV shows, but I don't really mix the two. Occasionally, if I'm trying to make a point, I may refer to something, but they are very, very separate.
Interesting. I like that because I always wondered. Most of the time your pastors or preachers or whoever in the church, religious, or like the lead person, and they won't talk about this kind of stuff ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not there for that. These are things that happened in my life. There's some people who've had the same experiences, but on Sundays, I'm not there to talk about UFOs or to try to sway them in any way. That's kind of like what's happening in my life, and I
Okay.
just keep them very separate.
Okay, and then let's go to direction of unless you want to talk about the alien books or whatever. But if I had an idea of where do you think we are in the tribulation period? Are we in the middle? Are we at the beginning? Are we even close?
I don't even know. I think that it's all a matter of interpretation. And I know I was raised as a Baptist. Obviously, I'm no longer Baptist, but I was taught that time was linear, that it was event after event, but it's not. It's cyclical. And so every ending is a new beginning. Now, as far as the tribulation, listen, there have been times like this throughout human history. The stakes are a little higher now because we have a technology. We can easily destroy ourselves many times over. I think and I feel that we have a window here as a species where maybe we can turn some things around. But if we don't, we're probably going to destroy ourselves. Or
Yeah.
now it could be climate change, it could be an asteroid, it could be a nuclear exchange. But we have a window of time because the old way isn't working. And so there's almost like a new world that can be born. And when that happens, it scares people. It's change, it's economic change, it's social political change. These things happen.
Hmm.
But we have a chance to do something different now. We have technology. We just need the wisdom to be able to use it instead of making weapons and all this kind of stuff.
I like
So
that.
I think it's open. I think it's open for right now. Um, I still have hope that human beings can try and be better than we are. But I think there's only a small window, and then it'll be too late. That we're just going
Yeah.
to screw it up and maybe have to start all over again with cockroaches or something.
Oh no.
Well, I think we're heading in that direction if we don't get some cooler heads to prevail.
That's right.
I mean, right now we're almost in war with Russia. I mean, we're moving troops close to them, and
Yep.
we're sending ammunition and weapons
Yep.
to UK or Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that? I don't.
Yeah, Ukraine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ukraine.
And really, Ukraine's president said, "Don't do that. We really don't want to spark the the tensions right now between us.
Yeah.
If something does happen, sure, then it's going to be too late, and he's going to wish that we had been standing there. But um, it, I don't know. We're going to have some cooler heads. There's going to be a war between the U.S. and Russia, and it's going to be massive.
Hmm.
And we're going to lose a lot of good people on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jesse did make it. Jesse, my friend Jesse Peak, he's a uh, uh, move on investigator in
Right.
Pennsylvania. So, and Tom,
Maria's not going to be here either.
I don't see Maria here, so I don't know.
She's not on Skype. I checked that. She's still.
Okay, she might be tired from work or something. I don't
Oh,
know.
sure. Yeah.
Apparently they had
Friday night.
snow. Yeah, apparently they had snow too. So
Oh,
who
did
knows?
they? No.
Yeah, which they don't usually get this much
Yeah.
snow.
In the wintertime down there, it's usually no snow.
Yeah, and it's kind of odd this year that they had more snow than normal.
What area are you in, Michael?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I'm in Western North Carolina in the Appalachian Mountains, and so
Oh
we
yeah.
had some snow.
Oh, I
And
bet you do. Yeah.
but we didn't have a lot today. It was, but we got a lot of ice, and that's what gets us here.
Yeah. Are you
It's
near
it's
Greenville?
17. It's 17 degrees.
Near Greenville or
I'm closer to Tennessee.
okay.
Yeah, I'm in the western part of the state.
Yeah. And then yeah, I lived in a town called Kannapolis, NC, Kannapolis, North Carolina.
Wow.
Concord would be the nearest city. We were 45 minutes north of Charlotte, but I live
Okay.
right
Yeah.
near the
So that's
motor.
about 3 hours from where I am.
Yeah,
Because I'm 3 hours. I'm 2 hours from Charlotte.
Yeah,
by
and
car.
I always remembered the ice in the wintertime. Not much snow, but on the ice, you had to learn how to drive on that ice.
It's the ice. Yeah.
There's really no way to drive on it except don't drive.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I mean,
and
we're going to have it's 17 degrees with 25, 30 mile an hour winds. Tomorrow, it doesn't get past 20 degrees. So it's good to be inside if you don't have to be out.
Okay, I'm going to add Jesse Peak because he's our UFO news guy. So we got to see what he has to say.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Jess.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good evening.
All right.
How you doing, Reverend Carter?
Good evening, Jesse.
It's nice to meet you in person finally.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your work.
We're going all over the board tonight, so just ignore me. I don't have any rule book here. And although I do prefer that we watch how we talk, keep our language.
Yes.
Family friendly. I call it PG-13, and that way we don't get strikes against us and things.
We do kind of ignore you on a regular basis, Ron.
Yeah, I know it. You guys.
Well, you have a problem when we get talking later in the evenings. You do doze off. I notice that a lot.
Oh yeah, and especially if Eric is here and then he wants to go. Oh, another 2 hours. Come on, another 2 hours.
Yeah. I got to put these on so I can.
And then John Ostains, he's known as, we call him Father John because he has a kid. But anyway, he is a religious journalist, or he has written about religion and things like that. He knows a lot of history about religion and about different religious cultures, I guess you can say. I did want to add him to the conversation because he wanted to talk to you in person, Michael, and then we can let it go at that. I think he just has some questions. Like he posted one in chat here, if you can see the chat. And
what the question? I can read it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it says, does the Reverend Carter have any particular text or authors who have influenced his spiritual or intellectual development that he could recommend?
Oh, there you go.
Well, wow. I mean,
that's a good one.
Howard Thurman, who was a mentor to Dr. King. Of course, Dr. King, I would recommend his writings because he was an intellectual, even though he was just marketed as this preacher, but he was an academic. Howard Thurman was his mentor. Dr. Barry Downing was, I stand on his shoulders. He's not an experiencer, but he wrote a book back in 1968 called Flying Saucers in the Bible that was very influential for me. And he and I are still very good friends. Anything like the Old Testament, this is the apocryphal Old Testament, the Book of Enoch was very influential for me. The works of Josephus, any Unitarian writers that you can find, because obviously that's my denomination, but it was more of a free-thinking kind of theology where you didn't have to leave reason at the door. John Shelby Spong, who just died maybe a month or two ago, he was very influential with me when I was really trying to get into the historical Jesus. He was more of a materialist. I didn't agree with his all of his theology. I don't agree with how many times do you agree with everything anybody says, but he was very influential for me. So those are just to name a few.
Okay. So I had a couple questions for you since I've been a
Sure.
huge fan. I've seen you on Ancient Aliens and a bunch of other programs. You were also on the
Sure.
abduction, the other documentary you did about abductions. So you believe in the ancient astronaut theory? Is that correct?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay, so are you a big fan of Eric von Daniken's Chariots of the Gods?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't read Eric's stuff in a while. I hang out with him sometimes, at the show.
Right.
He's a character. He's a good man.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, because what Eric did, and to get to your question, he opened it up. You know what I
Right.
mean? And people said, well, it's not scientific enough or what have you. Okay, we could argue that. But he got us thinking. Same thing
That's
with
right.
Ancient Aliens. Do I agree with everything they say? No. But it got us thinking in a different
Absolutely.
way. And so that's what I credit them, Ancient Aliens, as well as Eric. I stand on the shoulders of all these folks. And so they just got us thinking in a different way.
Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about things my whole life, and then once I got my hands on that book, my family even says it took one book, and I went
Yeah.
on this path, and I've been on it ever since.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a great thing for me, and I think for a lot of people that I've associated with.
Yes.
You know, and a lot of people can relate because as you're brought up, you're usually bound to a religion.
Yeah.
And then you see small things within that religion that kind of don't make sense, but then you read his book and the ancient astronaut theory and things start clicking.
It does. It just makes so much sense, brother. And so, yeah, but I mean, I'm running on. Tell me your question.
Oh, no. Well, I just wanted to. So I guess another question is because you are a reverend.
Yeah.
Do you bring that within your teachings, or?
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
Okay.
And Papa Tom and Ron and I don't.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. And it's funny because I've had people come, they're in North Carolina and they come visit the church and they're very shocked. They think it's a UFO church and it's not. But what I have done over the years, and I was saying to Brother Tom and Brother Ronald that once in a while, like I'll bring up reincarnation, and they seem to be. I think I'm going to do a sermon on reincarnation this year. But walking them along, and occasionally I may quote something from Whitley Strieber, or because they've seen me on the shows, they know I do it.
Okay.
But I don't force it on them because there's some people there. I was telling them that there was a couple people who wanted to fire me. And they were big donors of the church. They saw me on Ancient Aliens, and they said, "I'm embarrassed that my minister believes in this." This is they phrased it, little green men, and they came to a board meeting, and they talked because in the Unitarian Universalist denomination, the minister is not the boss, if you will. The congregation is, the board is. I work for the board. And I like that form of governance, and we can talk about it. But and they said, look, he's not forcing it down our throat. He's probably right. There are other beings besides us, and we don't think it's the bigger deal that you're making it. And that made me feel good. But so I don't. But a couple months ago, some people came. We're working on a documentary. They're trying to get the money for it. It's on consciousness and spirituality. So they talk to academics, they talk to clergy, they talk to scientists, they talk to a lot of people. And we talked about UFOs. And they came to the church and they shot.
Okay.
A day. And they had no problem with it. They had to sign some releases because when this is released, we don't want people. But they were like, cool.
Okay.
And they interviewed some people. But I try to keep the cookies in the cookie jar.
Right. Understood. Yeah. So have you realized maybe that people are starting to be more open about this when it comes to being in religion?
Yeah, brother. Jesse, they have. But the bigger thing were things like shows like Ancient Aliens.
Right.
And other shows. But when the military came out and talked about these TikTok things, and of course now in UPAs. To me, a rose by any other name is still a rose. There's still UFOs. the point being is that people don't snicker so much now
Right.
when they talk about it. So they've lent some credibility. And so people are probably 15, 20 years ago, a show like Ancient Aliens would not have lasted. I mean, were they going to their 14th season or something?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I lost count. And there's all these documentaries coming up because I know people are working on them about consciousness and life after death and UFOs. And it's like an idea whose time has come.
Yes. Yes.
And this is and you know, who was it? Was it Victor Hugo who said nothing is as powerful as an idea whose time has come. So it's the perfect time now. We couldn't have planned it any better. You got all these experiencers writing books, and so it's the time now. You've got these TV shows now. There are other things coming up in the future around this topic, and so people are ready for it now. And we were talking about all the upheaval on the planet and that kind of thing. But it's a great time to be alive. You know, we can go either way. We can destroy ourselves, or it's like the old Chinese adage, may you live in interesting times. Right. Well, we certainly do. And so it's exciting and it's concerning. And, you know, it's a whole bunch of things. But we can make a leap as a species.
Absolutely.
Or we can go back to our prejudices and our warlike ways and, you know, having 1% of the population owning all this. Well, we can keep doing that and running it into the ground. Or we can say, hey, you know, we can't keep going this way. You know, COVID, at least in my area, it woke people up in a lot of ways. I'm not talking about vaccination, not vaccinated. I'm not even touching that. I'm just talking about, you know, people, we started realizing that everybody's essential.
Right.
Everybody's essential. It's like, I forget the Hindu teacher, someone asked him, but what about the others? And he said, there are no others. There are no others.
Right.
We're all kind of in this. And so it took a virus to do that. It took a virus. It took a virus to get people to say, boy, I sure would like to see your face. I miss seeing your smile. Or if I hug you, I may wind up killing you by mistake. You know what I mean? The things we took for granted.
Right.
A virus brought back. Now, we can keep that sensibility or we can forget it. You know, we'll forget all about it. It'll be like the flu, and we'll get, you know, you'll get a shot if you want or not. And we can go back to our old ways, or we can remember, hey, man, we can remember the lessons that were learned, and we can evolve.
I
completely agree. Absolutely. I mean, I've learned a lot over the COVID-19 stuff, you know, being closer with my family, all of us home all the time, you know.
Yes.
The little moments.
That's right, because that's what life is made up of. And so, is that Klaatu coming out of Papa Tom's spaceship there? It looks like the day the Earth stood still.
It definitely is.
Yeah, that's what that. Yeah, I think Klaatu's coming up. Anyway, so another great movie. So that's kind of where I am. Papa Tom and Ron, we were talking, and it does seem like things are getting a little ratcheted up. But even with that, all we can do is what we can do. Right. Like I can't call Biden and I can't call Putin and say, are y'all kidding me, man? You really want to do this? But I can try to love my neighbor.
Right.
Or I can volunteer to do, you know, and so I try to stay in my lane, as they say in the 12 steps. And, you know, I try not to worry about things I can't control.
Absolutely.
And it's given me a lot of inner peace, those two things. I don't have to attend every fight I'm invited to. Actually, it's three things. I stay in my lane, and I don't have to be right.
Mm-hmm.
That gave me the most peace. I don't argue about stuff, man. You know, if I say A and you say B and I say C and you say D, I just say, okay, whatever works for you. Because I could be wrong, but I don't have to be right. And that gave me a lot of peace in my life. It took me a while. I mean, I'm going to be 65 in a few months.
I turned 61 last week.
Yeah, I'm going to be 65 in July. I'm going to be on Medicare. Yay. But hey, man, because you know, I got an ego like everybody else, and it feels good to be right. And I'm not saying if I'm right about something, but I don't have to be. And so I don't have to make you think like I think. I'd like you to think, but I don't have to convince you. It's like religion, right? If I say I'm this and you say you're that, I can share with you my beliefs. But once I start trying to pull you over, that doesn't feel good. And if I'm secure in what I believe, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, it doesn't matter what I say I believe. What matters is how I treat you. I mean, even Jesus said that, by their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, I'm in Bible study on Wednesday, I'm at the mosque on Friday, or I'm at the temple, you know, I'm at the Sangha, you know, I'm a Buddhist. I can do all that stuff. But if I don't treat you well, if I don't treat the planet well, if I don't treat the animal kingdom well, then you know what I believe.
Right.
I can say anything I want.
Absolutely.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
I agree.
Jesse, can you read that question from Jackie?
Yeah, it says, what do you guys think about identity? If we view ourselves as the Creator does, wouldn't it be that we can receive compassion and love from our neighbor and create an opportunity to give it back?
I say yes and no. I mean, that's really oversimplistic. There are 8 billion people in the world. We're all at different cultures and different levels of understanding and we all have our wounds. You can't tell somebody, for instance, who was sexually abused, well, if you just loved me, I could love you back. And I'm not trying to be funny, Jackie, please. I'm just saying it's a little more complicated than that. And people have wounds. When I was a younger man, I used to say, why can't people get it? All we have to do is love one another. And then I said, that's a young man's dream. That's a naive man's dream. If all 4 of us saw a car accident outside, we probably all 4 couldn't agree on what we saw because we all saw something different.
Right. Yep.
So if you can't even get that together, you're not going to get 8 billion people. And so it's a little more complicated than that. And so what you can do is not worry about why other people can't receive and give love. Worry about why you can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we say love your neighbor as yourself, but we never finish the sentence. It's always love your neighbor. And if I don't love myself, I can't really love my neighbor.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, so I'm not worried about why Joe Blow and Susie Q can't give and receive love. All I'm worried about is how can I learn how to give and receive love? Because I can't control that. I can't control that. And so people have their wounds. And sometimes they can't receive love. You know, if I'm a battered man or a battered woman, it's not going to be as simple as, well, why can't you just get it? Man, I got so much baggage, I need to talk to someone.
Absolutely.
You know, to show me how to love.
Right. And actually
so,
talking like that too. I mean, we deal with that with experiencers and abductees with that same kind of
Yes,
stuff, having that
yes.
baggage, and that's why they reach out to get help. And
And that's why I wrote my book on
right,
experiencers, because it's a lot of broken people and
absolutely,
wounded people. I'm one
yep,
of them. And so I don't always love myself best I can. I try. So, and then sometimes I don't love everybody I want to, but that's
right,
part of being human.
absolutely,
And it's not as simple as, boy, why can't we just get it? Because we're all at different stages of evolution, and we all have different spiritual journeys, and so we have to meet people where they are.
right, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's true because 10 years ago I wasn't the man I am today. You
that's
know what I
right.
mean?
And 10
Completely
years from
not.
now, in 10 years from now, you'll be something else. That basic
Right,
love will be there, and it will grow and evolve. But yeah, we're different, and that's part of the journey. And
right,
and if you're thinking that everybody's going to get together and just sing "Kumbaya," you're living in a different world. It's not. It's not. It may be like that on another dimension, but on planet Earth, it's not like that.
right,
mm,
absolutely. I think we got one more question too.
yeah.
Um, what are Reverend Carter's thoughts about the Nation of Islam's incorporation of UFOs into its theology and teachings?
I love it. I love it. They have their own narrative with it that I'm not sure about, because for me, love unites, and
Right.
if it's divisive, um, and I mean that story about Jacob, and it's just, but it's there, and I think that we would do well if um, mainline denominations um, start really taking seriously the possibility that these beings that are in these craft in our skies now were probably here back
Yes.
then as well.
Absolutely.
And so I tip my hat to the Nation of Islam. We see a lot of other things differently, and that's okay. Um, but the mere fact that they're saying, "Hey, there are star beings, or call them what you will. I don't like the term alien, but and that they're incorporated in this narrative." I think that is wonderful, and I think we would all do well if other mainline denominations uh, would start to take the topic seriously, and I think they will as we go
Right.
forward.
So saying that, when you heard the Vatican come out and say that they believe that there's life elsewhere, did you
Yeah,
enjoy that?
I did. Um, and I like this Pope. I like Pope Francis. I think he's really tried. He's not perfect. He's a Jesuit. I have a lot of respect for them.
Right.
And they've done crazy things around race and around Native American stuff, but we're all in it up to our,
Right.
you know what, we're all in it. So, but he's been trying to bring them into the 21st century.
Yeah. He's definitely different and trying to do a
I'm
different look
surprised
to everything.
I'm surprised he's still alive. I have to be honest.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm surprised. But I'm happily surprised. And so, yeah,
That right there just shows that times are changing because he is able to continue doing what he's doing.
yeah, to a
And there's
degree. I
no
mean,
right.
he's got a lot of resistance, but yeah. And so we just need some more folk to come on board. Well, that's what got me with Barry, with Dr. Downing. I said, my
Okay.
God, here's a minister. And there have been other folks. There was Reverend Virginia Brasington, a woman who was from this area, Asheville, North Carolina. Morris K. Jessup wasn't a clergy person, but he wrote a book about UFOs in the Bible. I
Yes.
have it over there.
Yep.
He died under mysterious circumstances in the 50s. A woman by the name of C.L. Turnage, she died. She was from Texas, very attractive lady. We used to be in touch. We never met. And she's very Zachariah Stitchin-esque. So,
Okay.
but she's written some books about the Bible and alien transmission. I have some of her books. So there have been a few other people don't come to mind, but I have their book. Oh, R.L. Dion, not a clergy person, wrote a book, 2 books. Does God Drive a Flying Saucer? Back in the 70s.
Okay.
And so you have these religious interpretations, and that's what got me into it, because my mind doesn't work like I have friends and they're into propulsion systems and back engineering and all that stuff. My mind doesn't work that way. I'm more interested in the inner transformation that can occur. And so that's always been, I have a lot of friends, I think I mentioned, who fought in Southeast Asia, and some of them talk about the war, and some of them don't, and some of them once in a while, and the scars are there. But I'm not likening the contact experience to war. But they would say, how are you going to act when you get back to the world?
Right.
How are you going to act now? We've been at war, sometimes 2-3 tours, and now we're going back. And so, how has this experience shaped me?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to act when I get back to the world? And so in some ways, it's almost like for people who've had these experiences, or NDEs, near-death experiences, or OBEs, out of body, how are you going to act now that you've seen a larger slice, portion of reality?
Yep.
And because you got to go to work tomorrow.
That's right. Everything continues to go on.
Family. How are you going to act now? You got to go to church or wherever you do.
Right.
And so I'm more interested in that.
Okay.
How do I react to my fellow human beings that I've had these experiences?
Yeah, I have 2 thoughts. First current one, Jesse, did you notice in the news on Facebook? I don't know if you posted it from the UAP group, and it was about they had 2 Black Hawk helicopters were escorting an orb. So I don't know how they're escorting an orb when the orb could destroy them.
Yeah, I believe I seen there was actually somebody had footage of it. There was a bright orb, and you can see the 2 helicopters that were escorting it.
Okay.
And it blew up now. Supposedly it's a real thing, and I don't know. I seen the video a couple days ago. Somebody had it on a YouTube channel, but I don't know all the details of it yet.
Yeah. And then Reverend Carter, Michael, I was wondering, in the conversion of Saul, when he changed his name to Paul, the Apostle Paul, and he saw the bright light and he spoke with Jesus, or Jesus, saved him or converted him. What do you think? Do you think that was alien in context, or?
You got me. Yeah, you got me looking. I have my Bible here.
Yeah.
Well, Paul does say, I got to find it. I mean, I think Paul was a contactee. I mean, I forget where he says that I know a man who was caught up. He says whether it was, where is it? Was it in Corinthians? When he says he was caught up, and he says whether it was in this world or this world. I'm paraphrasing. I do not know.
Yeah.
He was talking about himself. And so that did sound to me as if Paul was a contactee. What's so, I'm still looking. What's so interesting about Paul is that the Christianity that we practice today is Paul's Christianity. You remember Jesus was Jewish.
Yeah.
And so, and if you read through the Acts of the Apostles and Corinthians, Paul, Peter, and James, Jesus's brother, were telling him, because they wanted to keep the Jewish rituals, circumcision and the like, and they were skeptical of Paul. But Paul, they said, look, we knew Jesus, we walked with Jesus, we faced experiences with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? And Paul said, yeah, but I met him on the road to Damascus.
Yeah.
So there was always that tension.
Yeah.
Because they were more orthodox followers of the way. They were trying to keep the Jewish laws. and Paul was saying no because he wanted to open it up more. He was, Paul, he was a Roman citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had some privileges that they didn't have.
Yeah.
I'm still looking.
While he's looking for that, Jess, I need to ask you a question. How did your interview go?
This past week?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know you said a little something on Facebook about it, but
yeah, Philip Kinsella.
yeah,
yeah, it went great. Learned that I didn't know he was an experiencer himself, which got him into the field. That's really how everything got started. So it was really interesting hearing. We had a really great conversation. It was a good interview. We talked about a lot of different key points. The book, what he's trying to put forward with that book that he has out. It's called You, what is it? You, the Grand, or You, I forget the name of the book.
Oh, no.
I don't know, but it's about the intelligence community and the government deceiving us about this UFO, disclosure. And it's some of the stuff he has that he talked about it's crazy. He researched the subject very well, and supposedly there's a lot of good information in the book. So, but he's a great guy.
One other thing, did you find anything else out about Nick Pope?
Nick Pope?
Yeah.
Philip Mantle, he put a whole bunch of stuff out. If you go on Philip Mantle's page on Facebook, you follow him on there, he's posted all the documents from the MOD, the Ministry of Defense, claiming whatever he's claiming, and the documents are there. I read the documents, so it's
okay. I thought maybe you might have heard something else.
Well, I'm just surprised Nick hasn't said anything back about it.
Well, that's what I was waiting for, the other shoe to fall.
Yeah,
he's gonna step up.
Yeah, I would hope that he would defend himself.
Well, I would hope so, considering he's had a long career talking about it.
Yeah. If it was me, I would definitely defend myself. But I don't know. Maybe he's just not trying to hear about it. Maybe it's not you don't want the drama, which I can understand that too. Yeah. So, but I do have another question for you, Reverend Carter.
Well, hold on. Let me just let you know.
Yeah,
I did find it. It's 2 Corinthians 12. He says, I must boast. There's nothing to be gained by it, but I will go on to visions and revelations of the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. Only God knows. And I know that this man was caught up into paradise, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. Only God knows. And he heard things that cannot be told, which man may not utter. So he sounded like that's even a out-of-body experience. He's talking about himself.
Consciousness.
Yeah. So that's 2 Corinthians 12, verses 1 through 4. I mean, you can go on. I mean, he goes on.
Yeah, the other one in connection with that is John on the island of Patmos. I believe in the second epistle of John, or second or first epistle of John. Anyway, he talked about he went up to the third heaven and he looked around and he could see, okay, what happened to Tom? Did he go and come back?
Why don't you finish your thought, Ron?
When John went to the island of Patmos and he got caught up into the third heaven, which is pretty high up there, and he looked around and he didn't know what he was doing really, but he did kind of describe what he saw, but there was no proof no proof against it or for it, but his story of what he saw. So
there's a lot of stories. I think a lot. Ezekiel is caught up. Enoch is caught up, and of course, there's in Isaiah when he's talking about the earth looking like a sphere and the people looking like grasshoppers. Obviously, he's looking down. I mean, how did he know the earth was a sphere? Right. I was taught that only Columbus found that out the hard way. So it's a lot of biblical verses that lend itself to this ancient astronaut hypothesis. Jesse, you had another question.
Yeah, I actually got two, and it deals with the ancient astronaut theory, and one of them is the Nazca lines. So I was going to ask you, well, they were obviously built for somebody that was looking down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know a lot about them except for that, if you're looking down, they're drawings. I mean,
Because when you're on the
and,
ground,
and,
it just looks like little lines that are there,
yeah,
and you really can't
yeah,
even take in the beauty of it unless you're
exactly.
how far up.
And so someone had to know this.
Right.
And so there's always more questions than answers. I think it's really hard to refute this ancient astronaut theory.
Yeah.
I think it really is.
Yeah.
Even those who, it's just hard to refute the technology. How did they even know how to do this? And it's an idea whose time has come. And I think more and more people are starting to see it, starting to question. And that's all you want.
Yeah.
Oliver Wendell Holmes says that once the mind is stretched to a certain point, it can never go back to its original dimensions. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's fine. Once you can't go back. Once you've been shattered, once you've had the near-death experiences, you can't go back, and you've seen loved ones or what have you. Once you've had contact, once you've had an out-of-body experience, you can't go back to the old way of thinking.
It changes everything.
Yeah,
completely.
It changes your whole paradigm.
Yep.
And you have to keep that, and at the same time, you have to still interact and work and feed your family, and so you're like walking in two worlds almost. But you realize that it is all one world. It's just there are things that we don't see that are more real than the things we do.
Absolutely, yeah. And then the other thing I had is,
you ever had a UFO experience?
Yeah.
No, I've had contacts with several different races of extraterrestrials. That's why I wrote my books. Mm-hmm. The only time I was on a ship was when I got regressed, and I had no idea at the beginning because I went to a therapist. And through hypnotherapy, once with a woman named Jean Mundy, who died, but she kind of got me on a path to let me know I wasn't crazy. And the late Bud Hopkins, we were very good friends, and he regressed me. But no, I have seen various races, and I have someone make artwork, sculptures of the races that I've seen.
Wow.
And so I have my little reptilian here, the praying mantis. I have a little Nordic individual.
Wow.
Who healed a blood clot that I had, and I have the Arcturian. Edgar Casey talked about them. The one I saw didn't have the bindi there. The artist put that on there. It's okay, but very blue. This was the color they were.
What is the stuff? The stuff that it's made out of? What is it?
She sculpted it.
Okay.
And even put some crystals in it too. Yeah, I guess it's clay. I'm actually having her make me. I'm a Deep Space Nine fan, so she's making me a bust of Benjamin Sisko, Commander Sisko, and I asked for two.
You gonna make the station? You gonna make the station?
No. She's gonna make a bust like this. She's gonna put the
commander,
the comm badge on him, and the bald head and all that. Yeah, but she was kind enough. I mean, she's very good if you want her name. And her and her husband live in Vegas, and she charges for them, but very reasonable. But I told her what I saw, who I saw, and she made sculptures of it for me.
Now, what do you think of our space travel now? Do you think that we're gonna be out there in space, and should we be out there in space, or should we stay here on planet Earth?
That's a good question.
We're already out on planet. We're already out there.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to find out more things that were kept secret. I mean, we got a space station. And I don't know. I don't want to shoot all over anybody. I'm just thinking that if we're going to take the same warlike greed, avarice, if we're going to take those habits out there, I don't think it will end well.
It's not going to be good for us. Yeah, that's what I think. I like that. Thank you. Um, Jesse, did you have some news for UFO news? Did you have anything?
No, I didn't have any news, but I just recently joined the Planetary Society.
Oh, okay.
And I joined and I paid the first little basic membership for it. It's $4 a month. They send you a cool little T-shirt. They teach you about the planets. And then I actually took a certification class. They offer free certification classes to become an advocate, to talk with Congress and push for future space flight missions, which I didn't know they did. A lot of really cool stuff they're doing within Congress and reaching out to your state representatives and pushing for future stuff and the budgets. They teach you about the budgets and everything, so you can go and advocate for this. And I think it's a great thing that they're doing. And they're teaching young people about space, which I think is great too.
Yeah.
I mean, $4 a month, it's unbelievable.
They're preparing us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
For Star Trek world. Yeah. They're preparing us.
I like that.
Ron,
They
I
are.
kind of got a little answer that I would answer your question.
Okay.
Do we belong out there? As far as mankind belonging in space, I think it's kind of silly to put all your eggs in one basket right here on planet Earth. We need to start spreading out. Something happens to this little planet, we blow it up, asteroid blows it up, something's going to blow it up. And I would sure like to know that mankind continued on. And because I'm not long for this world, but I would sure hate to see mankind disappear just because we, got stale and haven't gone back to the moon in 25 years, 30 years, whatever it's been. I don't know. I think there's something going on with the moon where we don't have a base up there now. We went there, we saw it, we came home. That's it. That's the end of it. No,
I don't think so.
I think the Japanese or the Chinese or somebody's going to put a base up there before we are. I think we need to go with SpaceX and try to put a base on Mars. I think that would be a more habitable planet, a place for us to be able to live, work, get minerals from that planet to help this planet, if possible. I'm not saying strip the planet raw, like we've pretty much so done a lot on this planet and created atmosphere that we can't, heated up the atmosphere to the point where the ice caps are melting. Let's not do that. Let's not spoil another planet. But I really do feel we need to keep all of our eggs not in one basket. I mean, we need to move on. If we put 3,000-4,000 people up on Mars in a community, that would be enough to hopefully respark human population if something happened to this planet.
Well, I know that's the end goal for SpaceX and Elon Musk. That's what he's trying to build with the Starship that he has.
Well, he is
100 people,
but
to send up there, and he's looking in and he's working with the other companies right now to build habitable bases for people to live up there.
But what boggles me my mind about him is all of a sudden, and I say all of a sudden, but it's not. It really hasn't been all of a sudden. I mean, he's a guy that just came up through the ranks with $350 million in his pocket and fired off the first rocket, and he's been a golden boy ever since. He's had some of his downfalls, but he's had more run-ins with our government trying to keep him out of space than anything. And he spends more on lawyers trying to fight this stuff in court so he can do what he wants to do and put bases on Mars. And that's what we need, private industry to do it, because our government's not going to do it. They're going to sit back and they're going to draw your taxes and
well, that's the problem that I was learning through the Planetary Society, is that the budget that NASA gets is literally 5% of what the actual budget. I think not even 5%. It's like 0.05%. When you look at everything, like the needs, I mean, it goes into, food and like all, agriculture and all that stuff. After that, there's only like 20% of the budget, and that has to get split between another 6 or 9 different things too.
But
And NASA's one
Musk
part of
is
that.
showing us that we don't need to spend the money that we've been spending to send rockets up. Absolutely don't. And we can reuse them. And there needs to be a different science out there, and he's developed it. And NASA just refuses to buckle under and follow suit with some of his stuff.
Interesting.
It is.
So now, how do we deal with spreading the message of our religious faith if we go into space and we can't even speak the language of the
We
creature?
bring it with us and hope they can understand us.
Oh, there you go. Or learn telepathy real quick.
Just like we sent the golden records out on the Voyager spacecraft, we need to do the same if we venture out into space.
Well, Jackie has another question. We missed one of her questions earlier. It
I'm
scrolled away, but Jackie has another question. Jesse, you can read it. You can read the
It
screen.
says, has anyone seen the Mars exploration document on FOIA Digital Library about a person that was on Mars or remote viewed it? And what's your opinion, if anyone has? Now, I have heard of that. There's a episode on one of the shows, series about UFOs, where the CIA actually brought a professional remote viewer in, and he had him remote view coordinates. Actually on Mars, or was that the moon? That might have been the moon. It was the dark side of the moon, but it wasn't Mars. But I'm sure they probably have done it with Mars. But he found with those coordinates, people up there and buildings and structures, and it looked like there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And when he got out of his remote view, the CIA guy was like, "Isn't that something?" So I believe they have before, in my opinion. I mean, the government's done how many different secret testing with people in the remote viewer section, all kinds of it. So,
So this person has claimed that there's a colony already up there?
There's a couple people that have claimed it. A couple big time remote viewers,
And their
people that
information
have said that they have went into the secret soldier program. There's a couple of them. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I leave all possibilities open.
I would
They'll
have to
come
have
when you're in
something a
this-
little more grounded to start believing in something like that. But I mean, we have fought and fought and fought to try to get back to the moon even.
Well, see, this is what I say.
Mars,
If we believe in the UFO subject, I mean, that's how far in advanced in years and decades. So what doesn't, I mean, if you believe in the UFO subject itself or the phenomena itself, it's not that crazy to have a base on the moon or on Mars.
No, I don't think it is. We have the technology to do it ourselves. We don't need UFOs to do it for us. We can do that stuff ourselves.
When he remote viewed, it was us up there.
Yeah.
He was seeing
But who
us.
brought us up there? Because I don't think back then, to have a colony that size would have to start years ago. And I don't think we have the technology to go to Mars. Maybe the moon, not Mars.
Maybe.
That's just my personal opinion. I mean,
I was told by somebody that the technology that we have out here in the public, the government is at least 10 to 20 years ahead of that, with the stuff that hasn't been let out to the public.
I bet we're farther along than that.
So,
I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Reverend Carter, about the, I know with the pyramids and stuff, a lot of archaeologists are now going out there, and the carbon dating is said to be not on point. They have dated these structures to, however many thousands of years, and now new archaeologists are going out there and they're finding out that it's even older than what they have been finding.
Yeah, that's been going on for a while. I remember Anthony, John Anthony Davis, West. And I forgot the other brothers' name. I think it was Schlock or anyway.
Yes.
That the carbon dating. Well, they were using, what was it, 10,500 years ago, or 12,500 years ago,
Yeah.
which is interesting because it correlates with Atlantis,
Right.
this great flood. And then they were talking about that the water markings on the pyramid, they can date that to even further back.
Right.
And so it's almost like a lot of the things that we were taught in history are just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes they're wrong because they were mistakes. And sometimes they're wrong because there's something to be kept hidden.
Absolutely.
And so it's good now to question. It's always good to question. I think I know it's people. It can be annoying, but I have some friends who, if they read it, it's true. And we have to remember there's a lot of information, but there's a lot of disinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And especially in the UFO community, a hackneyed term, but I'll just use the term. And so, and some of the stuff that we get, they're little half truths, or there's a little bit of truth
mixed in,
but there's a lot of disinformation, and it keeps you off balance.
Absolutely.
So one has to discern and just say, well, maybe I can't swallow that whole right now, and that's part of a spiritual journey to learn discernment.
Right.
And it's not always easy.
Right.
But definitely, to your point, well, to your comment, that a lot of these, especially working with the Egyptian pyramids, a lot of this stuff is older. And then you consider that the continents were closer together at one point.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And so a lot of the travel that was going on then, they didn't have the ocean to have to do that. And if we throw in now space flight, back then, a lot of this stuff it's interesting. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But we know that the template we were given was probably wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like they found Antarctica. They found that map of Antarctica with no ice on it. That's interesting. Yeah.
And it was from the sky.
Yeah.
So it's like, how'd you get? Yeah.
How did
So
they know?
it's more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It kind of forces us to have to live with mystery for a while until we find, or maybe we won't get a clear answer. And so it's exciting time. It's exciting time, and you can see, if I'm a tenured professor and I've written several books, and this is the theory that I use, that the pyramids was built 10,500 years ago, it would be hard for me after all the work I've done to buy in that no, we've got some evidence here. Yeah. So you got the politics of academia involved. So it can be a mess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. I like that. There was another video or post, Jesse, and it was a serious post, but it showed somebody on, I think, Mars, and they were looking at a light in the sky, which there shouldn't have been any light in the sky at the time they were looking at the sky, and it was clearly a UFO, apparently.
I didn't see that.
You didn't see that one?
No.
And it's kind of weird. So there's a lot of strange stuff out there. I know that, and we don't have all the answers. I do think that we probably won't get the answers until we advance to our next level. So when we get to our next level, we will have the necessary answers for this level, right? We'll be able to advance to the next level, and then we'll think, oh, well, that was easy. I kind of thought that way. I suspected that. And then as we go through the next level, we'll gain more information, and we might come back here. I hope not. But anyway, I hope that we keep going. I hope we keep going to the next planet somewhere. You know what I mean? in my sleep, I have traveled. I don't know if you've done that, Michael. If you have astro traveled or traveled to different places.
I have not, at least not consciously, but I know people who
I've
do. I know
been
some
to,
people say they can do it and will. But
I've
go
been
on.
to a planet. I've been to a planet that I can only describe as one of the most beautiful places that I've seen. I can't understand it, but besides some of the places here on Earth, but this planet was amethyst crystal, and it had two suns actually. And what was interesting was suns were on. Basically, the planet was always in daylight, but when the suns were shining through the crystal rock, it looked very pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, somebody there might not think so, but somebody just visiting, it looked
Yeah,
very
right.
pretty. And so, um, what happened was I was there and I could touch the crystal, believe it or not, which most people, you don't want to touch energy crystal like that because you'd end up blowing up or something. So you got to be careful with that. But apparently I was instructed to touch it, so I touched it and I could feel the energy in the crystal. Okay. At the time I was touching the crystal, I saw two people I recognized, but I didn't remember their name. Of course, that kind of happens now on planet Earth. I see people and I think, who is that person? Uh, I know who they are, but I don't remember their name, and most of the time I have to ask, which makes it kind of awkward. But I do get through it, and it's just, as we're getting older, our memory fails us, or if you have too much going on in your head, your memory fails you. So, what do you think about those kind of things? Are those messages, or am I really there? 'Cause I really feel when I'm in a state like that, where I have traveled to a place, I do feel items in my hand, like a bottle or a cup or a ball, or I can grab a door handle and I can actually know I got that in my hand. It's not that I'm imagining it. So,
Yeah.
am I there in the parallel, so-called parallel universe or
You
parallel?
know, you know what? I listen, to me, I believe that. Only you can answer that. I can't tell
Yeah.
you what your experience was. Um, but there's so many stories in the literature of people having the same experience, of
Right.
people, you know, going to crystal cities.
Hmm.
Um, and so what we do know is that reality, as we see it, it's much more vast, much more beautiful, much more complicated. So I'm not going to tell you that that's not true because I
Right.
believe it is true.
Yeah.
Um, the thing about uh, the thing about OBEs, the thing about extraterrestrial experiences or NDEs, they're so subjective.
Hmm.
Okay, and so you have to take the person's word.
Yeah.
That if I tell you that I saw a reptilian in my room, who's to say that I didn't?
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think for hardcore scientists who are very materialistic, it's hard for them to accept that precisely because it's so subjective.
Hmm.
Right.
Okay? People, you go online, people say, well, I died and I saw Jesus. I died and I was in heaven for 2 hours or whatever. I can't say that that's not true.
Hmm.
I can look at other studies and say it's interesting that when a Buddhist person has an NDE, they see Buddha. When a Christian, they see Jesus. A Jewish person sees Moses. An atheist just sees a light at the end of, and they come back. There's data, but you can't say, "Oh, come on." I would never say that to someone, and I have
Yeah.
no reason to say that with you. I'm just saying
Hmm.
that that's one thing that's so for some people it's so hard to deal with because that's just your interpretation of what you saw. How do
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know that
Yeah.
was real? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you tell me you saw that, I believe you saw it because I feel like you have no reason to lie. But I know other people who have had the same experience.
Yeah.
So it can't be some mass hallucination.
Right.
But only you can know what that was for you. I can't tell you that except to say that you're not alone in that experience.
Well, amethyst means what in the metaphysical world? Does it mean
Amethyst, I have a piece right in my bedroom.
That's for protection, isn't it?
Actually, it's for psychic development because it's the color. It's for your third eye.
third eye?
It's for the intuitive. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Like I got a piece of solidite here. It's blue.
Oh, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah, it's but this chakra is supposed to be blue. It's the throat chakra.
Or your throat.
And
Yeah.
I wear it because I do a lot of public speaking,
Mhm.
and it's supposed to energize the throat chakra. But amethyst, because I had a friend of mine who was a really talented psychic, and he wore it all the time. But it does some other stuff, but it does open up your third eye.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said blue because I read when I see people on the video. I can read your aura, and in reality,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
I don't know if you've had your aura read at any time, and somebody told you what your colors were. I don't know if you had that.
I read my own aura, but I also read other people's auras.
All right, let's see if I'm close then. All right, if you don't mind me sharing what I see.
No, I don't mind.
Okay, I'd like to ask first, and Jesse, I'd like to share yours and Tom's, if you will. So I think with you, Michael, I think what I go with is the primary aura, which is the closest to your body. It goes out in stages, okay?
Yes.
Like a rainbow on out, in layers, okay? And I see each layer separated and individual. I don't necessarily see the exact color, but I feel and see the energy what I'm recognizing, and it's automatic. I don't have any choice on it. I tried to shut it off. I shut it off for many years because I was learning too much about people, about different things that I shouldn't know. When I was in high school, I was practicing some weird stuff with this technology, and it was like, well, I need to stop that altogether and not use it. And then I learned, just recently, I learned, wait a minute, I can actually use this for good and just know, one, protect myself for what I know, and two, to know about a little bit about that person that I'm looking at, And so anyway, for you, I see a base color of orange. Okay, you're a thinker. Orange means, you're always thinking, you're always busy at creating things, which you're a writer anyway, so that would make sense. And then I did see blue, which is a secondary color. Okay, which you said your throat chakra. So
Yes.
I'd say orange and blue would be the two. There might be a few more there that are layered differently, or they might change as time goes on as well.
Yes, they do. And if you get enough sleep, or you don't get enough sleep, or how you're feeling, and even when your thought changes, they change.
But in this time, right now, your orange primary color and blue is your secondary color. So those are two good colors for you.
Thank you.
And you're a creator and a speaker, and that makes sense for you. And then, Jesse, I'll go with you next. Not because of your blue headphones. I always thought you were blue, though, because you like to speak a lot. You like to talk a lot. You do. You have your podcasts, and you go to the different events, and you share your thoughts, so you're a talker anyway. So that's why I think your primary color is blue, and then green is your secondary color. Green is a loving heart, a caring person, which I think we all are kind of in this field. We're a caring person.
Ron, I don't know if you remember, but you read my color when I first met you. And
did I say the same thing?
It was green was my primary, and the blue was the other one. So now it's opposite.
It does switch. Like I said, it does switch sometimes. So it might be different depending on what you're doing right now. What you've been doing recently. But you've been doing a lot more talking on your shows.
Yeah.
You had a couple more podcasts you've been putting up there.
Yep.
And then Tom, I think he turned off his camera anyway.
Gotcha.
But I could actually do that even without the camera. I can read the energy. So I'm that good. So I don't usually tell people that because it scares them, but now they know. So, oh well. Anyway, Tom, I think you're green, and I believe your primary color is green. Your secondary color is orange. Because again, you're another thinker. You're a creator. You do. And Tom builds models of UFOs and different things, Michael.
Ah,
So he does a lot of
That's why
creating.
that picture's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, like this. This
Yeah.
is one of the
yeah,
models I
it's
built.
from the day the Earth stood still. That looks like
It
the
is.
cloud.
Good
Yes,
for you, Michael. You
I
understood
said
that.
Klaatu.
That
I
was
thought
for a
Klaatu
client of
was
mine out in
going to come out.
Columbia, Missouri. He was a big fan of that particular original show, and
Oh, it's my favorite movie.
and
It's my
he
favorite sci-fi movie. I didn't like the remake as much with Canal Reeves, but
yeah. I also built him a full size one. It was wider than my 2-stall garage, and I took it out
wow,
to it.
wow, yeah, that's a beautiful rendition there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Tom had built what you call a diorama, like a
Yep.
model in a box
Mhm.
on a wooden platform, and
Yeah.
then probably what was it, 12 by 12, Tom, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Thing was huge though, and he built it, and it was a thing about the UFO landing with the cow, and had a pickup truck and a farmhouse and land and everything like that. It's all pretty good. And Marianne Robb in Arizona. She's a retired police officer, and she's in MUFON. She's a MUFON director for that area,
Yep.
or not? Well, she's a helper with the director, Stacy. But anyway, they have a museum out there, and she donated the funding for the creating of that, and she ended up, and Tom ended up sending that to her for that museum. So it's somewhere out there in Arizona at the museum. That's
Wow,
pretty darn cool.
Well, I've got 2 of them in the museum there in Roswell,
Yeah.
and I
wow,
have one in
nice,
Pine Bush.
very
That
impressive.
was donated by Thomas Reed. I don't know if anybody's familiar
Yep.
with his
Yeah.
stuff. I did a
I
lot
met
of
Tom.
commissioning work for him. Unfortunately, he was pretty broke at the time I was doing it, so he got them pretty cheap.
Hmm.
But yeah, I build, and let me give you a little context on why I make these. After I had a sighting back in 2005 of a triangle UFO with 2 other police officers, um, I didn't know I'm not an artist, is per se, put it on paper. I do a little watercolor once in a while, landscapes and stuff, but nothing compared to the way people do it today. And it's all done by computers, and I couldn't afford a computer 3D rendering of this UFO. So I am a woodworker and a crafter, and I just started building them. My first model I sent to Dave Muller for his book, and he portrays it quite often in his book and in his talks and stuff. He's a pretty good sized model, actually. And he asked me if I could please send him a small one. So do you have yours, Ron?
I have the small triangle. If you want, I can get it and show
Yeah,
it.
show that to him, and that's the size that I
Hold
sent
on
to
now,
Dave
don't
Muller
go
for his
anywhere.
travels.
Great
No, we're
time
not
to
going anywhere.
take your bathroom break if you need to. I'll
Thank
be
you.
right back.
So, what Ron was talking about on these astral projection stuff, I got into that many years before I even saw a UFO. And the funny thing is, I've never left the planet. I did fly, and when I was flying astral projecting, I wound up in Washington D.C. at the needle, the monument out there, that tall monument. Well, he talks about crystals, and to me, they built that just like a crystal,
Yeah.
or like an Egyptian monument type thing. I'm just wondering if there isn't information in these crystal things, like these crystal skulls. I mean, we kind of touch base on it a little bit. Quartz. Yeah. Is it quartz, not crystal?
Yeah, quartz.
Okay. And I think I've seen all 7, or is there 13 of them that they've got now. but I think several of them are faked because they can see machining and things like that in it. The original that they found down in Mexico didn't have any of that. The girl that found it way back in the 50s or the 40s or something that they saw down in a hole, and they pulled that out. That was the original one that was found. And there was absolutely no machining marks on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think that if we were visited, these are libraries, and we have to get. Oh, there we go. Ron's got it. Ron's got it up.
Oh, wow.
Now that's the craft that I actually saw. Now it didn't have the under lights. The guy that I built this for wanted lights underneath it. And
That's really lovely.
he never came through with any funding either, so he didn't get the craft. Yeah, all these lights cost money, folks.
Yes, they do.
So if you order
All
something,
right, there we go.
you don't expect it for free. Anyway, Ron's got. Ron, if you can shut those lights off on the bottom, the little tiny ones.
Okay, let me see which one that is. Hold on.
Yeah, you
That's
just
a
had
really,
There you go.
that's really well done. That's really well done.
shut the little lights. The little lights, not the. Okay, now you got them all off.
Okay, which one? Which one did you want on?
Everything but the little lights underneath.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
There.
That's a really
It goes
nice
off.
piece of work.
Like that,
Corner lights and the back
Wow.
lights.
and the back ones.
All right.
Like that.
Like that. All right. When I came over the hill that night, when I heard all this radio traffic, and I came over the hill and I parked behind the police cars, this is what I was seeing. I was seeing two lights in each corner, and I was seeing these scrolling lights up and down all the way across this thing. Now it's the width. It was the width, little more than a football field wide. Now and this thing was hovering anywhere from, I don't know, it's quite a ways off, anywhere 500 to 1,000 feet above the ground.
Wow.
And these lights on the corners were shooting straight down with a beam. Absolutely nothing was touching the ground from the lights. It wasn't lighting up the ground or anything. Now, we tried to take videos of this, and all of a sudden, once we started to move around a little bit, and we watched this thing for almost 45 minutes until it started to move off. And we kept an eye on it for over an hour. And once it started to move off, it turned these backlights on. Ron, can you turn the 3 white backlights on?
Gotta get the right.
No.
There.
There. Now
Wow.
it turned those 3 on, and it had a little tiny red light in the middle underneath on the belly. Now that one's got a bigger one because that's what this guy wanted. And it was blinking just like a tower light would blink. Now, if these things are so stealthy, and they're our government, and they're trying to hide these things, why would they have all these lights lit up?
Mm-hmm.
And are these lights, or are these propulsion systems? Because once those 3 lights on the back came on, this thing started to move off, and when it moved forward, and then it turned to the left, and it never banked on either direction. It just turned and went. And it went slowly. It didn't go, just disappeared.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's beautiful what you did with that.
So he sent this for, what was that, Christmas last year?
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
So
That's the only reason he has me on here, because I send him gifts.
yeah, there. No, I'd have you on there anyway. You're fun to talk with all the time. Michael, what do you think about our little show here? Do you like what we do here?
Yes. Yes.
Well, we're not too hard
Yes.
to talk to. We're easy to talk with, and sometimes we don't have a direction. We don't unless we have a script to go with, I guess. If we have some kind of outline that we can actually follow, maybe that would be better. But
Well,
I
that's
don't.
fine with me. I just didn't know it's my first time on, so I was like, well, how's this going to work? But no, I think part of the charm of it is that it is kind of unstructured.
Yeah, and it's open conversation. We don't have to stick to a plan, and it's a little bit relaxing that way. We don't have to have our ties on, don't have to be
Yeah.
dressed up, and we can
Absolutely.
relax. And that's what I like about my platform here. I've been doing this for, if you look at my website, earthradio.com, I
I
have
did
over
see it.
60. I have over 60 intermission transmission shows that have been well enough to be qualified as a show. Okay. Some of them I've done, most of them I've done. I've had other people host the show for me with content. I forgot to turn on Mixler tonight, but I'll upload this show. I'll upload the audio portion of this later, and
Yeah.
then I'll get it that way, if that's all right. And I'll put it up there on there. I might replay this audio portion of the show. I'll record it and put it up there, do the magic to transfer it to the audio, and I'll put it up on Mixler as a show. And however long we go, which we've been going almost 2 hours tonight, so we're doing good.
Yeah,
So
it's about that time.
we're about ready to wrap
Yeah.
it up.
Ron, before you jump off and before you take that out of your hand, I was busy telling you how I constructed these things. But the reason I make these is because there's people out there that don't have money to do a 3D rendering of a UFO that they saw, but they would like to have something, be able to tell a MUFON investigator, this is what I saw.
Yeah.
This is what I saw. And if there's anybody out there listening to us, I know we're on YouTube somewhere, and if they want a craft like this, get hold of me, and I will do my best to work with you on the price and getting it to you on shipping. Shipping is the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
That's cool.
do you have an email, Tom? Do you have an email that they can send it to?
I do. I don't know where to put it, but I have an email.
Okay. Can you share it or not?
Well, where do you want me to share it at? I mean, it's
Right-
kind of long.
Right in chat here, or you can share it on the air here.
No, let me put it over here in chat, in the other chat room.
Okay.
That way they'll see it.
I think just about everybody's getting ready to leave. So everybody in the chat, thank you for coming in tonight.
Yeah.
Good show. And it was nice to meet you finally, Reverend Carter. Good to have a nice conversation.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
It was a
Yeah,
pleasure.
absolutely.
And I managed to see Reverend Carter on Joey and Tanya's show last week. So that's why
Okay.
And that was fun. That was a fun show. That was a fun show.
they might have done a little better job than I did, but anyway.
Oh, it's not a competition.
No,
It's
exactly.
not a competition.
I always say this, Michael. I always say it's not a competition. It's a community, not a competition.
Yeah, and do you want to let everybody know where they can find your books at
Yeah.
and where they can follow
Yeah,
you?
I just put it in the chat, but yeah, my books can be found on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. I've written 2 books on UFOs and the Bible. One of them is a meditation manual. That was my 3rd book. I've written a book on prayer and healing. And my latest book, which came out in August, is a handbook for people who've had UFO experience. Well, it's not just for that. I've had people who've read it who haven't had experiences, and they were like, wow. But it's for people who have had experiences and the spiritual transformation.
Well, that's good to know. That's good
Yeah.
to know. I work for the MUFON's ERT, the Experiencer Resource Team, so I work with experiencers all the time.
Yeah, so yeah, you can get
And
it on
sometimes they
Amazon.
need literature to look at. So that
Yeah, this is the book. It's called Initiation:
initiation.
The
Okay.
Spiritual Transformation of the Contact Experience. And you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles.
Oh, there you go.
And if anyone needs to talk, I mean, trying to come to grips with what's going on, they can reach me at my email, and I'll put it in here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And
if you just need to talk to someone,
Yeah.
not going to judge you or
right.
say, what are you, crazy? I'm available.
Yeah.
There you go. Boom.
Okay, if you can read those emails, Jesse, because the radio people will hear it later or see it later. So if you can read the address of Papa Tom and then read the address of Michael when he
Papa Tom, did you put your stuff in there yet?
I
sends
put
it.
it on. I put it on YouTube on the
Okay.
other channel
But for
Okay.
the
So, yeah.
audio,
where everybody's watching.
Oh, for the audio, yeah.
Yeah.
for the audio, Papa Tom's is T-TOYS at BVILLEMN.net.
All right.
And then Reverend
Right.
Carter's is Michael J.S. Carter at gmail.com.
At Gmail, yeah. Or you can go catch me on Facebook, Michael J. Carter, or my fan page is Reverend Michael J. Carter. So, yeah, I had a website, but it got hacked and with GoDaddy, and it was just too much of a hassle. It was expensive too. So I just decided catch you on email, catch me on
There you go.
Facebook. And I
There you
want to
go.
thank you guys. It's past my bedtime a little bit.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
Yeah. If you want to, if we can do this again another time.
Oh, yes,
Sounds good.
anytime. If you have something new coming up or something you want to discuss or you have a
Yeah,
thought,
I'll let you know.
I should
All right, great.
talk Dirt Radio. You know, you can
Awesome.
mix it up and talk to anyone you want. I think just get your message out. That's the main thing. Get your
Yep.
messages out. And
Then I'll be in touch with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
All right.
and
Well, you
my-
have a
my-
good night, Reverend Carter.
yeah, and my plan here is
Thank you, brothers.
Our
Yep.
radio is for expanding your awareness. All right. So,
Yep.
all right.
All right.
Thank you.
guys. I'm
Have a
going
good
to
night.
get some sleep. I
Have a
think.
good
All
night,
right.
everybody.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Good night.
All
Hey,
right.
Jess, also, if anybody writes to that email address I just put out there, I can send them my website and they can see all my work
Okay.
if they want.
Okay.
Ron's got my card too. He should be able to put it out here
Okay.
anytime.
I have all your I mean, we're friends on
Okay.
Facebook
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So if I'll reach out to you for sure.
Sure.
All
You
right.
bet. All right. Good night,
All right.
guys.
Good
Yep.
night.
Have a good night, Papa Tom. All
All
right.
right. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you for showing up. I know you might not have felt good, but maybe that helped your headache a little bit.
Yeah, it did a little bit, you know.
So that's good.
I hate it. I was on the computer all day today for like 3.5
Oh,
hours
okay.
taking a certification, and then after I was done, I
I
headache
didn't know you had
started.
all that today. Okay. Sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No, it's fine. I seen you guys were on, so I figured let me hop on. You know,
But
it
it was
wasn't that
just,
bad.
I always like the way to, you just relax a little bit. You don't have to worry about the day. You can just talk what you want to say, and have fun discussing some things. And,
Absolutely.
that's what we're about on Friday night. Nothing too serious about anything. Just relax and share your conversation.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get a message to somebody that might be wondering about something.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's what
and,
it's about, right?
Yep. And we don't have to agree with everyone. We don't have to accept everything that we hear. But the main thing is to listen and to get that message out there, because you're gonna touch somebody that needs help. Okay. And that should be why we're in this business here of the YouTube stream and the weekly show, is to get our
Absolutely.
message out there and to share the information when people need it. So let's keep it going.
Yep.
And Oofy showed up. Hey, Oofy, how you doing?
Yeah, and everybody knows that my website, if you ever need anything, you can always reach out to me as well. If you're an experiencer or if you just need help with anything, personal, private investigations, I do that for people. So I've always offered that from day one. So if anybody actually needs anything like that, you can always go to my website and send me an email and I can help you out. So that's what this is all about, reaching out to people that need help and getting the message across and educating the public. So that's what
And
it's about.
Oofy said, just don't touch the toast.
All right. Well, I'm going to head out, Ron. You have a
All
good
right.
night.
Thank you.
Everybody in the chat, have a good night. I'll see you all next week.
All right. Have a good night and good
All right,
weekend.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that leaves me all by myself. So we're going to go ahead and call it a night. I'm going to upload this, or I'm going to transfer it to audio for the Mixler side and maybe play it on the audio side of Mixler. I completely forgot to start that tonight, so that happens, But anyway, we had a good show here, and I can go ahead and get the audio off of here and get it done. All right, so we'll see everybody next time. Oofy, thank you for showing up over on Facebook. I'm glad you can see it, and your messages are coming through. All right. I don't know that they were before because I had a problem setting that function on here. So I'm going to have to get on here a little earlier and actually do that better. Okay. Yep. Thank you for being here, Oofy. I didn't know you were here earlier, so anyway, I'm glad you're here. And you found us. Reverend Carter was a good guest. That's what all of our guests are. So anyway, we'll see everybody next time. Yep, it's good to work. That's right. We got a lot of stuff going on tonight, so who knows where everyone is, and that's okay. We have more people now and then, and more people will see this video later, and that'll be fine too. And you'll get to hear it on Mixler side when I put it up there on the audio. Okay, but I'm going to get on out of here for right now, and we'll see everybody next time, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Mixler. I have a show that I do mornings. Every morning I do a music show. So Saturday is the Saturday morning show. But anyway, I do Monday through Friday. Today was Foo Fighter Friday day, so we played Foo Fighters. Anyway, we're out of here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.